Yo, 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 welcome back to the Feather Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris. I am your host, and I'm super excited to be back here having the conversation with you. Episode 210 today, and we're talking about a really, this could be a pretty confronting topic. It might actually really make you think really deep and hard. We've covered a lot of topics over the last few weeks. Some really great ones, thinking about long term, thinking about, saying yes and no, figuring out who you are, all these different things. Lots of different conversations. I mean, we're up to conversation 210, but I think one topic which maybe we haven't really clarified or covered in a lot of detail is what happens if you don't trust yourself. And it's a really powerful topic because when you start to realize of how many things comes back to your own confidence, your own ability to know your capabilities and your own self-awareness, when we can get ourselves right, we can do really, really great things. And when you don't trust yourself, you hesitate, you overthink, you let fear seep in, you have bad opinions, you build you build opinions, and you doubt control, and you just don't control your choices at all. And without having such self-trust for yourself, all the strategies we've been talking about, all the things that we've been talking about, critical thinking, long-term consistency, risk-taking, they become very, very hard to apply. So I want to talk about this today. It's probably going to be a short and sweet episode, hopefully really deep and raw, bringing it down to really challenge you on your own thinking about, do you trust yourself? Do you think you have what it takes? And how do we break into that? So buckle up. It is going to be a bit of a deep and meaningful conversation. And of course, if you enjoy these episodes, please subscribe and we can continue the conversation down in the comment section as well. We're going to roll the intro. Let's get into it. So why do most people struggle to trust themselves? And I've looked through a number of these different things, and some of these are my own personal traits as well. So getting very vulnerable here is fear of being wrong. What if I make a mistake? Now, I hate being wrong, right? Not to say that I've got it all figured out, but I like to try and do my due diligence and make sure I'm covering my basis. And I don't like being wrong. I also don't like being corrected, which is why I don't like being wrong. Past failures hold us back. Sometimes we let the fear of failure stop us from actually trusting that we're capable of doing things, right? You think last time you tried, it didn't really work or it didn't pan out. So you're not really keen to make it happen. But maybe things have changed. Maybe it's a different set of rules. I don't know. But we struggle to trust ourselves because maybe things haven't gone well in the past. Be it your own fault or someone else's. The other reason why we struggle to trust ourselves is we have this over-reliance on outside opinions. What will people think of us? We seek validation from other people. We don't seek validation from confirmation that what we're doing is working. We've got years of experience, right? I'm 34 this year. And when I think about everything that I've done in life, I can look back and think, what was I doing 10 years ago? What have I achieved since 10 years? Okay, that should give me enough validation to understand that what I've done in the last 10 years has been greater than the first 20 years. Therefore, I should be confident in making this decision. But it doesn't always happen that way. The other reason why most people struggle to trust ourselves is perfectionism. If I can't do it perfect, I shouldn't do it at all. And that's frustrating. And, perfect isn't, you don't need to be perfect, right? You can get it to 80% and it's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough. Right? So most people are waiting for some level of certainty. But the truth is that certainty only comes from experience and not before it. So the only way to get the certainty is you have to go through the experience. You have to struggle. You have to make mistakes. You have to go through bumps. You have to go through all these things. You don't build self-trust waiting for proof. You build it by acting, by taking action, even when you're not too sure. And you just get a little bit better of it. Now, why is self-trust so important for the foundation of being successful? If you want to further your lifestyle, you want to have success. Yeah, you get to define what that success looks, but there's some really foundational points that we need to cover. Self-trust gives us speed. It gives us the ability to make decisions and take action. For me, I hate twiddling thumbs. I just like to take action and execute. When you don't have things to think about, or you know have time to think about all these things, you can just execute and make decisions. You can learn, decide, adjust, and move forward. Just get straight into it. And that's what I like. And that's why having that trust in yourself gives you that ability to do so. It also gives you confidence. It gives you the ability to believe in yourself, to figure out things, right? And you don't need to go seek this external self-trust. Also gives you resilience. It gives you the ability to stop fearing failure because you trust yourself enough that you can recover from setbacks, that when things hit the fan, you know what you need to do. Self-trust helps us stand out. It helps us be a game changer. But let me say it this way. The people who change the game aren't the ones who are followed who followed the crowd, right? We are the ones that are outliers. We're the ones that trusted our own instincts and did things that were outside of the normal boxed mindset. And we all do this in different ways that we don't realize. When people think you're weird, when people think, oh, I wouldn't do that. That's because it makes them uncomfortable. If you're doing that, you're standing out. You're doing things different. Now, you got to be mindful that you got to do your due diligence that these different things aren't stupid things. But sometimes what's stupid to other people is actually really, really sensible for other people too. Right? So at the end of the day, it's the ones who trusted their own instincts that are going to stand out because no one else did. So how do we actually build, or how do we actually strengthen our self-trust? Well, it's actually more simple than we expect, right? It's all about making small promises to yourself and then keeping them. It's like building routines and habits and consistencies. Every time you follow through on something, even something tiny, reinforce that you can trust yourself. Reward yourself, right? You've done the hard work. It worked out. Reward yourself. You need to stop overthinking every decision as well. If you wait for certainty, you'll be waiting forever, right? You need to find ways to be able to move forward, and you need to trust that you'll be able to adapt. I've made some pretty bold decisions and risks. I've taken some pretty big risks. They've worked out, right? It doesn't mean it doesn't make me uncomfortable, but it makes you comfortable to then do it again. It makes you comfortable to think, okay, we can do this. We know we can do this. It's possible. But are you willing to do this? Are you willing to adapt? And that's where the self-trust comes in, because it's like, yeah, I'm willing to take on the effort or the consequences of this if it lands that way. You also need to own your own wins and own your own mistakes. You need to celebrate your wins. We spoke about that, but you need to learn from your failures. But you can't let them define you. Learn, not define. Learn from your mistakes or your failures, but don't let them define you. We also need to learn how to act without waiting for the approval. If you believe in something and you believe it is right, do it. Stop waiting for the permission. Obviously take that with, levels of due diligence and, in the constraints of what is legally right and legally not. But no one else is going to build the life that you want. So who's going to give you the approval? The best person to give you approval is you. You want it? Go get it, right? A question you should ask yourself is, what would the future version of me want? Instead of thinking about it, instead of thinking about what will people think, ask, will my future self thank me for this? I would like to think so. I'm working hard now so that in 10 years' time, I don't have to. That's the goal. The final thought here is self-trust separates those who succeed from those who are stuck, right? We'll say that again. If you trust in yourself, it's going to separate you from those that have succeeded and haven't succeeded. And you're going to be one of those that succeed. So at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to these couple of points. If you don't trust yourself, you'll hesitate. Simple as that. If you hesitate, you won't take action. And if you don't take action, nothing changes. But the people who win, they're making big, bold moves. They're doing things. They're taking action. They're trusting their ability to figure things out. And they don't let fear or doubt or outside opinions dictate their choices. So the question I'm going to leave you with today is this. Do you trust yourself enough to take action on what truly matters? Because that's the question that's going to change your life. If you want to further your lifestyle, if you want to change your life, if you want to see the ambitions that you have come to life, then you need to give yourself permission to trust yourself, to take enough guts to take action and to push through all the noise, all the fear, all the doubt, all those different things. The only person that you can compare yourself to is yourself. Look back where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What have you achieved between now and then? I mean, then and now, right? Look into it. Has things been working? Now, if they haven't been working, that's going to be a motivator for you to now realize, okay, we need to make some changes. And you can start to re-trust yourself. And you got to understand when things don't work out, is it because you just didn't do the work? Is it just because you didn't do the research? Is it just because you didn't ask the right questions? Or is it because you were lazy or stopped? Or was it because something hit the fan and maybe it blew things out of control and you needed to slow down a little bit? Well, that's okay. You can go slow as you want. It's your rules. You get to dictate it. It's your life. But you can't be held back by all these other things. Learn to trust yourself, trust your gut, take action, and see what you can achieve. You'll be surprised. Like, I still pinch myself today. It's amazing what you can achieve when you put your mind to it. We spoke about last week about the consistency of long-term thinking and just playing the long game. This is what you've got to do. You've got to learn to play the long game, trusting yourself, and you'll see some magical results happen. Appreciate you being here. If you did want to continue the conversation, drop down into the comments below. Share your stories, your thoughts. I would love to hear them. But if you think someone else needs to hear this, please share it with them. That would mean the absolute world to me. My goal is to help other people, further their lives. The best way to do that is have them hear different things from my perspective, my point of view. I'm documenting my journey. I'm sharing what it's like to build my business and everything that comes with that. And that is a roller coaster of a ride. But I still think it's very motivating, very encouraging, very inspiring for others to go do their own things, right? It doesn't have to be the same as me, but to seek discomfort, to find the motivation, to understand that you are capable of doing these things if you give yourself permission. Appreciate you. We'll be back here next week. You have a wonderful day. Cheers.